Well, it's Saturday, and you all know what that means. Well, if you probably know right about now, MLW had their recent Fusion event featuring many matches, but the main event is a Tennessee Tornado for the MLW World Tag Team titles. So basically, as you know, the Good Brothers have been chasing these belts since arriving in MLW, but now they will take on the Skyscrapers, Dijak, of course, and Bishop Dyer. So we'll see how things roll up from there. Then we move on, of course, with AAA, with a lot of things taking place. Well, as you probably can remember, El Grande Americano is still a little pissed off over what Dom did to him 2 weeks ago when he walked out on him during a match against Los Perros. But once again, Perros continue to, of course, to do their usual thing and plenty other things. We have also, of course, the AAA World Cruiserweight title on the line. Ray Phoenix defends it against Noisy Boy. And the main event, La Parka versus Psycho Clown. But the real question on that match, will that once again crazy dude will show up again to attack Psycho Clown? Well, we'll see how that things turn out. And then finally, of course, we move on with AEW Collision as they end their last few opening rounds of the Continental Cup. So we will see who will advance. And we have a very unusual 8-man tag team match. The Rascals will team up with The Rain. The Rain. It's fine. It's fine. Yeah, which is kind of weird, but I'm kind of curious how they will coexist with them. And of course, to add the bonus, no news updates for today. So, let's get ready with another Deleted Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Hey everyone, welcome to Deleted Wrestle Zone, all things that is pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, TNA, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, J-Rod here. So, if you are new to the channel, welcome. This is a channel we do a lot of pro wrestling reviews from various promotions, not only here in the United States, but also in Japan, Mexico, Canada, Europe, the UK, anywhere pro wrestling is not as big, but it continues to grow. We even, of course, do discussion videos, talk about various topics such as the wrestlers themselves, the promotions, factions, storylines, whatever we want to talk about. We even, of course, do more news updates. If certain information was unable to be on this episode, we can either put it on the next one or on a separate video by itself. We even, of course, do some real-time news updates to keep you guys on alert if something has happened in the world of wrestling that needs to be addressed ASAP. We even, of course, got through Nagisa Yako Watch and various other cool wrestling content as well. So if you like what you see, please subscribe to us and click on that subscribe button. You'll be getting a lot of daily reviews and other cool wrestling content as well. But if you like this episode, please give us a like on the like button or a nice comment in the description down below. Now, enough of the jibber jabbers. Let's get to it. So, let's begin with MLW Fusion. Okay, MLW Fusion. Now, as you know, we're still a bit jumpy after the return of Joseph Samael of Contra Unit and other things, so it's still unpredictable. Now, they did make it clear that security was tight because they cannot take any chances of Contra Unit do their usual thing where they just attack out of nowhere. Now, we opened up it with a bit of battle royale, of course, on this one. I don't know how many people they had, but I do know they had Diego Hill, Wolfgang of the Glasgow Boys on top, who else? Some members of Contra Unit and that sort of thing, and of course the debut of CJ Gallows, who many of you know he is the son of Doc Gallows of the Good Brothers. So it's a very interesting thing. But it was a pretty good match, I'm not going to lie. But this guy named Jumbo actually picked up the win when he took out Wolfgang. I'm sure that Glasgow boys are not going to take this kindly, but Jumbo picked up the win, and it was an excellent job. Now, as I mentioned before, Contra Unit, as you probably can guess, are sending once again their statement about taking control of everything, raising the black flag like they did back during the before the pandemic and during the pandemic, how they used to run things. So that's the original thing, what's going to go on. But of course, MLW are determined to try to maintain order as possible. But you know how Joseph Samael is. He is unpredictable, so we'll see how that plays out too. Now, our next match, we have Joe Coffey versus LeBron Kozo. Now, of course, many of you know this, that it was revealed that Joe Coffey was the one that beat up Teddy Long, but Kozo was not happy with what Joe Coffey did. So you can tell that this is a bit of a measure of payback for what they've done. Now, of course, whenever Joe Coffey seems like he's not going to win this match, of course, Tweedledee and Tweedledum will show up. I'm referring to his brother Mark and Wolfgang. They even apply the distractions. But however, of course, Joe Coffey decided to apply a roll-up, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, they picked up the win. Now, Joe Coffey can say he's done with it, but a part of me would think that Kozone is not going to be done with these guys by a single long shot. So we'll see what happens as we go. Now, Mystico, of course, as you know, had an interview with Rich, but however, he was interrupted with Austin Aries, who has been, of course, wanting to get his hands on Mystico because he's bitching, he's complaining, and he's bitter with the fact that he lost to Mystico. So he's trying to tell him that you're not going to beat me this time, but he said he's willing to put the MLW National Openweight Championship on the line against him. But Mystico said, why not put in a three-way against Aveno? Because, of course, Aveno wants that belt too. So it seems like it's going to happen. So we'll see. Now, we did get another interview with Rich talking to the Good Brothers, who are well prepared now for their upcoming Tennessee Tornado match for the MLW World Tag Team belts, which they've been hunting since they first arrived. But the real question we ask ourselves, will they survive? They even introduced CJ Gallows, of course, Doc Gallows' son, who was right there too. So this was going to be an interesting matchup. But man, we went to that match completely, and it was brutal. I mean, you can see plunder being used, tables, ladders, chairs, whatever they can find and all that. But in the end, it was a magic killer and a 1-2 sweet that allowed the Good Brothers to pick up the win. And just like that, they are now our new tag team champions. And of course, CJ came around to celebrate with his dad, and I'm going to say, I don't know if he calls him Uncle Carl because they've known each other for years, but yeah, so we'll see. Pretty good show, not gonna lie, but we'll see what happens next week. But for now, we are done with MLW. Let's move on with AAA. All right, AAA. This is their much recent show that happened. We opened up, of course, with Dominic Mysterio making his way into the back, but unfortunately he was blindsided by El Grande Americano. Now, as you all know, what happened 2 weeks ago, El Grande Americano and Dom teamed up, but it was Dom who walked away, and Dom made his reasons why. Dom calls El Grande Americano a false Mexican due to the fact that he declares himself that he is now Mexican because all that, but Dom feels like that's an insult and all that. So he did what it was necessary, and not to mention, he's well aware that El Grande Americano wants a shot of the AAA Mega Championship, and that whole thing. So the fight went from the back all the way to the front, and of course, the general manager, Rey Mysterio, who was at the broadcast booth, decided to walk out and try to maintain order in the decision, and he did. But of course, Dominic played dirty when he punched Americano right in the gonads and walked away. But however, it was what Grande Americano told Dom. He told him, that you think what people are going to say in years to come about your legacy. You think you can compare yourself from guys like El Santo, Mil Máscaras, Blue Demon, or your father. He says, let me tell you something about them. They gave their lives for pro wrestling. You, Dom, haven't given nothing in return. And then he tells them that everybody in Mexico, even the fans who were there, that they recognize El Grande Americano as a king. You can tell that's irritating because it felt like, like Dom said, he is not a Mexican. And then he told them, and Dom thinks that, he's not going to walk away as the champion, but we'll see what happens as we head to Triple Mania. Now, our first match is for the AAA World Cruiserweight Championship. Noisy Boy gets an opportunity of a lifetime. I mean, this is an opportunity he knew he had to take because you may never know when another opportunity will come, and he faces Rey Fenix, who has been a proud champion, a fighting champion, defending it against anybody who was willing to fight him for it. And that's exactly what he did. And it was a pretty good match. A lot of high-flying spots, but however, he ended up in the wrong side of the Mexican muscle buster by Rey Fenix, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, boom, it was over. Just like that, he retained the belt. But however, while he was celebrating, his brother Cero Miedo appeared out of nowhere. Now, of course, he just came out to do a promo talking about, of course, that he is on the verge and hopes that he has an opportunity to face Roman Reigns, because he told him, you never faced someone like me before, Ray, because I am Cero Miedo. And he did state it, that he doesn't need a faction or anybody to help him to get there. But however, his past has come back to him. And that past is Los Perros del Mar. Now, for those who may not watch the discussion video that I did a while ago, I did mention that Penta, of course, himself was a member of the group long before Perro Aguayo Jr. passed away. And that was the whole thing. And of course, Daga was trying to make it clear that this isn't about me, this isn't about, of course, these guys, but this is about what Perro Aguayo left behind. And that's exactly, so is the mission. So obviously Daga wants to recruit him. Now, keep in mind, Penta left the group back in 2017 or so, because, they had the future was still uncertain after Perro Aguayo passed away, and that was the whole thing. But he hasn't made a decision yet what he wants to do, so that kind of puts it in a very bit of perspective. Now, our next match is La Parka versus Psycho Clown. So this was one of those matches where, okay, what's going to happen then? I mean, these two guys have been very impressive throughout their careers, but of course, out of nowhere, lights turned off, and it was that Psycho Killer, whatever his name is, the guy who took out Psycho Clown a week ago and just attacked them. But however, La Parka applied the Bone Breaker and just walked away. Now, we still don't, with the win, but however, we still don't have a clear motive. Why has this guy been attacking Psycho Clown? But I did state it. Was he responsible for the attacks on Psycho Circus and Pagano? That is still the question that remains unclear from there, but hopefully we'll find out. Now, before the program ended, Penta was in the back, of course, with the shirt, making his decision. But however, he got in the face of Bronco Lima and tells him, okay, I'll tell you what, how about you and me next week? If I beat you, I don't join Los Perros. But if you beat me, I'll join. So that kind of sets it up right there. So basically, he put himself in a stipulation. So we'll see what happens next week. So that's pretty much it, what happened in AAA. I can't wait to see that match. But for now, let's move on with our last and final review. And of course, like I said, we have no news updates. AEW Collision. Okay, final review. AEW Collision. We opened up, of course, with the AEW World Trios Championships. Lethal Twist, consistent of Jay Lethal, Lee Johnson, and Blake Christian take on, well, let's just call them the good, the bad, and the ugly. Brodito, and of course, Hangman. So that kind of sets it up right there. Obviously, we know that Lethal Twist has, how do I say, allegiance towards the man, because The demand are still ticked off, saying that those belts were taken from them and all this, and they're demanding to have these belts back. But of course, Lethal Twist were going to try to play their dirty tricks, but it backfired when, of course, Brody King put the Gonzo bomb onto Lee Johnson, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was done. But however, during the pros match, well, we know Ricochet showed up once again, trying to make it clear that he's gonna reclaim those belts. But of course, Tweedledee and Tweedleditch attacked him out of nowhere, sending a direct message. So it became a matter of 6-on-3. I mean, I don't know if there was anybody who was willing to help them, but a part of me would think that Swerve will show up and cost Ricochet, of course, these tag belts, but we'll see. Now, we did hear from Don Callis. Lexanier was saying there's been recent tensions between both Kyle Fletcher and Okada and all this other stuff that's been happening. But, of course, Don Callis like saying, it's the spirit of competition. Wrong, dickhead. It's ego. But, however, I like to say in a positive note here, there is that match between, of course, Brian Cage and Echiseto, who are part of this, of the Continental Cup. So they actually got everything handled. Now, of course, I was a bit biased exactly how this was going to go. I mean, Brian Cage, we cannot deny he's a machine. Echiseto is the Alchemist, one of the best technical wrestlers in the world. So he probably would have found ways to defeat him, and that's exactly what he did. He put him away in a somewhat of a crucifix, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, boom, it was over, just like that. Now, Darby Allin, of course, as you know, has his sights set on Kevin Knight and the TNT Championship in an anything goes match. But of course, as you know, Darby Allin is very good friends with Stephen Borden, of course, is the son of the legend Sting, talking about him about certain things, about how, he's working hard to get where he needs to go. So we'll see what that leads us from there. Now, before their match, we see the Rascals, of course, all happy about how things are going to go. But of course, Myron Reed was a bit more nervous because of who they're taming. And they're like, I thought it was you who did it. No, it wasn't me. I thought it was you, one of you. It's like, no. And then Leo Rush shows up. And of course, Zach's like doing that thingy like multiple times. And then it's like, needs friends. Everybody needs friends. And I go, no. So basically, I have to say that was a great moment. Now, our next match, we had the Divine Dominion, our current AEW Women's World Tag Team Champions, taking on Rochelle Reverter and Maserati. Now, obviously, this match was going to go in favor of the Divine Dominion, and it was, of course, the intervention. I don't remember on who, but yes, they picked up the win. But, of course, out of the blue, during post-match, well, the Brawling Birds, as you all know, who are the current #1 contenders at All In for these tag belts, well, they decided to get a little measure of payback for what happened last time. And they almost put Mega Bane through a table, but Lita Cross grabbed her and just took her in the back. So that's how it rolls up from there. Now, during an interview with Renee Paquette, she talks to Zeta Steele, as you probably heard. She is facing Mercedes Moné and all this. But of course, Zeta said that she grew up watching her, but she did not like what she did to Willow, because we know that recently Mercedes Moné has some deep-hitted issues between both Willow and all that. So you probably can guess how that turns out from there. Now, our next match is more on the AEW Continental Cup first round match. This is the last two of it, of course. Nigel McGuinness versus Shibata. I thought this match was pretty good. I mean, Shibata, we know he has a lot of the pure wrestling style. Same thing with Nigel. But Nigel somehow was able to survive it when Shibata put him in a sleeper hold, but he used it against him by using his weight, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. So he'll continue on. Now, Will Ospreay, as you know, well, let's just say he is focused on Kenny, but it seems that Don Faggot cannot, mind his own damn business, talking about how he created both Kenny and Will, but he did say he's going to ask for help, and that help, of course, he's referring to is the United Empire, because he doesn't know how they're all with him right now, so we'll see. Now, our next match is Leo Rush and the Rascals taking on, for the guys, Francesco Matic, Williams, uh, Jelks, Braxton, and Watson. There was a moment where they're telling Leo like cuts, and he just takes all of them out. And Leo Rush put one of them, of course, in a submission and just won like that. I thought it was an okay match. Not gonna lie, I mean it was very entertaining to see how they react with each other. But however, the celebration was cut with the arrival of the Hurt Syndicate, more specifically Bobby Lashley and Shelton Benjamin, where they team up with Shane Taylor Promotions, taking on, of course, Sonico, um, Julio Montano, Ro Montana, and Jake Redondo. But the match was going well for a bit until, out of nowhere, the Hurt Syndicate just walked out, leaving Shane Taylor Promotions in a 2-on-4 scenario. But it was, of course, Shane Taylor that picked them one when he grabbed one of the guys. I don't know which one. In a small package power driver, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it's over. Now I don't know what the Hurt Syndicate was trying to do, but hopefully they'll give us an answer on that. Now Tommaso Ciampa, as you know, he will be involved in the Gauntlet match in hopes that he will get an opportunity for the AEW World Title. Now remember, the Gauntlet match will happen at All In, so stay tuned for that. Now our next match is Zeta Steel versus Mercedes Moné. Well, Zeta Steel, we know she has what it takes to put her to take on Mercedes, but Mercedes is using her anger because she's frustrated with the fact that the championship that she has long desired is in the hands of a woman who, as you know, has been a thorn in her side for many years, and that kind of sets it up. But it was the statement maker, Brian Mercedes Moné, that allowed her to pick up the win. Now, while the match was over, Christopher Daniels went up to check up on her to see that. But however, of course, Mercedes attacked them and beat up. But thank God for Willow, who just showed up and take matters in her own hands. So we'll see what happens until then. Now, Jungle Jack Perry, as you know, he feels like he has stepping up his level game to be part of the AEW World Title constituency. But however, Swerve Strickland, who knows him very well, he tells him, the guys you mentioned who have been world champions, I defeat every last one of them. But he tells, of course, Jack Perry that we're ready. But he looks at his blood at himself saying, I seem ready. And he's like, be careful what you wish for. Now, Kenny Omega, as you know, will be dealing with, of course, with Don Callis, and whoever Will Ospreay will be teaming up. So he'll team up with the Elite, the Elite, the Young Bucks. So I can't wait to see that. Now our last match, well, it's a conglomeration showdown. Kyle O'Reilly versus Roderick Strong for, of course, in the Continental Cup. I thought this was going to be a very interesting matchup because these guys know each other for years. They teamed up. I don't know if they often have to challenge each other often, but it was a pretty good match. I enjoyed it so much. But Kyle O'Reilly was able to defeat him, and just like that, it was over. So Kyle O'Reilly will go up, but it's still unclear who is Kyle O'Reilly going to face. But Orange Cassidy said he may not or may not face Kyle O'Reilly. So we'll see when that happens. So we'll stay tuned for that when we follow more on the Continental Cup. So we'll see. But for now, we're done with reviews, and there are no news updates for today. So let's call it a day. Well, I hope everybody enjoys this episode. Coming up, well, I have, by the time this video was being already planned out, something came up for an upcoming news update by itself. I did not anticipate this one, but I will get it done as soon as possible. But stay tuned for that. I'm currently trying to catch up with the Stardom 5-Star Grand Prix and the G1. Basically, they'll be on separate things on the special episode. I will probably put about maybe 4 of those reviews at a time, see how things roll from there. But stay tuned for that, of course. We'll see. But for now, I will say this. I will see you guys in the next DWZ time. Same DWZ channel. I must bid all of you adieu. So, goodbye. And have a nice day. Bang.